Friends, hello. It is, what is it? It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday in the market, and let's talk about what's going on with Mullen still. So, man, I've been talking about Mullen every day here so far, but this is an important week for Mullen because supposedly, as Lawrence says, this is the week when we will hear something either on Monday or Friday from the so-called Saudi deal. So if you've been keeping up with me yapping about this, you'll pretty much know that I'm on the fence about anything at this point that this guy right here says. Because if you've been with Mullen for any time, you know this guy says a lot of stuff that doesn't actually happen. But we're going to talk about some things with Mullen that you can look forward to that are actually happening, and you know, it's positive news for Mullen. So last thing we talked about that happened with Mullen here is that they had their vehicles, showing them off at the government expo here, their fleet vehicles, and that's really what Mullen makes their bread and butter off of, is their fleet vehicles. They produce a lot of them, they sell a lot of them, and those are what really brings in their big contracts. But another thing that is going to be happening here that a lot of people like, the last storm in the beach here, the last big move that Mullen has here to really get the stock up and moving, is this one big thing right here from the CEO David here, where David said this year, 2003, July of this year, just 2 months away, in their Mississippi facilities, that Mullen will start producing vehicles to where they can deliver them to customers, their cars, their sedans. So when and if this were to happen just within 60 days here, this would be revolutionary for the stock. Let's be honest. This would be the news that Mullen has needed for a very long time, because you know, I hate to keep talking about this Saudi deal. I really do, because it's just kind of like, I think we're all over it. I think I'm speaking for all of us here, and I don't want to go over it a lot because I've already gone over it so much. But like I've kind of stressed, you know, I think it's important to really focus on what we know Mullen has done and what they more than likely will be doing, that the actual company Mullen and their CEO is talking about. There's a lot of people that have lost a lot of money based on putting money into Mullen just because of what some particular people are saying, and they never deliver on what they're saying. So key points here with Mullen that we're looking at right now is that there is good news coming down the pipeline with Mullen. We know that there's more of these fleet deal contracts that'll be fulfilled, new ones that they've acquired that are happening this year. If they do get these sedans, they're you know, cars out on the road and to customers, this is going to be really big too. And it doesn't mean that Mullen's going to be some billion-dollar EV company overnight. It just means it's the start. It's where it needs to get. You know, the main focus right now is to get Mullen above $1. Mullen needs to get above $1 and stay above $1. It would be very nice if we could see better quarterlies here. Obviously, they do start releasing these vehicles. More of these big fleet contracts come in, and Mullen is able to bring in a bit bigger and better balance sheet, and that more of these shares start to get ate up by bigger and larger investment firms. And honestly, they just make investors feel comfortable. There's a lot of people that are scared to buy large into Mullen right now for the long term, because, you know, we've got 60 days potentially for this, you know, this assembly line of cars to actually start and be released here for Mullen. And that is a long time in the stock market, especially when we have a stock right now that is struggling just to remain 70 cents to 80 cents at this point. So, friends, like I said, key points, once again, I keep saying that, but you know, they are the key points, the bullet points, whatever you want to say here. There's good news coming down the pipeline. The problem is, will Mullen survive? Or are we going to see Mullen trail back down to a 20, 30 cent, 50 cent range? Now, obviously with that, there's huge buying opportunity. If Mullen does fall down to another 20, 30 cent zone, which is not off the table whatsoever, and then we do see big production start here in July, Obviously, that would be huge for Mullen, and it would change the trajectory of the stock overnight. I mean, it would be massive. And just to mention the Saudi deal one more time, yes, potentially there is something that is supposed to happen this week. Like I've said before, we have seen this a million times with things that Lawrence has said, and it just hasn't happened. So, for the love of God, for Lawrence's sake here, I hope he's right and he delivers some news. If the Saudi deal is real, yes, it will be huge. It's supposedly a $10 billion deal over time. It would be huge. But a lot of people are skeptical that it's even a real deal. So, and that's the thing, like when people find Mullen and they've only been in Mullen for like, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and they hear the Saudi deal, they're not realizing that this Saudi deal that we've been hearing about, this is nothing new. The Saudi deal has been around for quite some time now, and it's been promised, it's been promised, it's been delayed, it's been delayed, it's been promised, delayed, promised, delayed. And a lot of people are just like, okay, I think I know when I'm seeing something that I'm being lied to about here. So generally, the only thing that most of us believe at this point is when Mullen, the actual physical company, talks about news, talks about deals, and this is what we're left with right now. So, looking at the actual stock right now, the stock is just in survival mode at this point. I mean, it's just trying to survive. Yesterday was an okay day with it. The biggest push we saw this week was pre-market when it went right under $1, hitting that 95-cent zone before market open. It stayed around the high 80s, and then later in the day it just crashed back down to the 70s. And now we are still losing steam, losing momentum here with Mullen, and it is just a travesty. Man, I hope this gets better for everyone's sake. Friends, let me know what you think. I'm not talking about gamma squeeze. I'm not talking about squeezes, gamma squeezes, dark pools, all that stuff. That stuff's fun. I get it. And those channels are out there that are going to talk about that. Friends, I want to be real and honest with you. Be careful with Mullen here. Obviously, I'm not trying to talk a hit piece on Mullen. I like Mullen. I want Mullen to work. I really do mean that, honest to God. But, we have to face facts too with things in the market. We can get really emotionally attached to a company and want it to work, but financially, we have to look at the company and really think about what's coming. And the main thing Mullen needs right now, it needs a lot of money. It needs these so-called deals to happen. It needs strong support from big investment firms. And right now, investment firms want nothing to do with it. So let's hope that Mullen can last here at least till we maybe see this Mississippi plant start producing something to where, average people can start buying Mullen vehicles. And that brings in more revenue. Like I said, I'm not expecting Mullen to be some kind of new Tesla here. That's not what we're looking at. We're just looking at essentially a new EV company that is trying to get its product out there to customers that want it and enjoy it. And that's what we're literally watching right now. So friends, with all that said, I will talk to you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.